In the 80s and 90s, something called Satanic panic would hit the world. And what that involved was people doing things they wouldn't normally do. Rituals, sacrifices. Doing these sacrifices to get things they most wanted. That's what today's video is about. Sacrificing someone for something that you want. Here in Arroyo Grande, California, and it was here in 1995 that a 15-year-old girl named Elyse Pahler lived. Now, she, growing up, was a good kid, went to church with her family, loved to sew, was a good older sister. But, you know, when teenage years hit, sometimes things change. And that really was the case for Elyse. Her friend group changed, which is not uncommon for kids growing up. But the particular friend group that she got with was one that was kind of more into drinking and smoking marijuana, kind of more party group. So Elyse started doing this pretty much on a daily basis, smoking, drinking, to the point where a teacher called her at school smoking and notified her parents. Well, her parents were concerned, so they sent her to get help for her problem. The building you're looking at in front of you, I know it says the Pitt Martial Art and Fitness Center, but back in 1995, this would have been the Mariposa Community Recovery Center. Now, this is actually where Elyse's parents would have sent her to get help. Now, it was here at this building that she would meet another 15-year-old by the name of Jacob DeLashman. Now, these two would soon become friends, and he would introduce her to two of his other friends. The school behind me is actually where Elyse and Jacob would have attended school. Now, remember I told you that Jacob would introduce Elyse to two other friends? Those friends were Joseph Fiorella and Royce Casey. Now, the three of these guys had a band called Hatred. Now, what inspired them to start this band was that they were avid Slayer fans. Joseph was kind of more like the leader of the trio, and he was a little bit more into like the Slayer lyrics than the other two, to the point where it started kind of like putting thoughts in his head, so to speak. Well, one day he sat the other two down and he's like, look, if we want this band to go somewhere, we need to basically sacrifice someone. And it doesn't need to be just anyone. It needs to be a blonde-headed, blue-eyed virgin. And I have the perfect person, Elyse. He thought if we do this and we commit this sacrifice, like this would be the ultimate sacrifice for the devil. The devil will therefore grant our band more craziness, the ability to play harder, to gain popularity. Forget actually practicing. Who needs that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not like an important requirement to be a good band is practice.
Like,
that's for chumps.
You just need to sacrifice someone and boom, you're Slayer. That's how that works.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
So they put a plan in motion, a plan to get Elyse out of her house so they could commit a very, very heinous crime. On July 22nd, Royce Casey would make a call to Elyse at her home. Now, this is a private road, so we can't go any further into there, but if you look just over there, there's a peak of a house. This was where Elyse was living. Now, he made the call to come meet him and the two other guys with the intentions of smoking marijuana and to hang out that night. Well, Elyse agreed. She snuck out of the house to go meet them, much like she did any other time, because, you know, she couldn't have her parents knowing that she was still smoking and drinking, so whenever she wanted to do that, that's what she did. She would sneak out of the house. And she trusted these guys. These guys were her friends. She didn't think anything was up with it. She didn't think anything bad was going to happen. But unfortunately, that wouldn't be the case. When I was researching the location of where they lured Elyse to, I found that it was on the 2400 block of Chamisel Lane, about a mile from her house. So I'm not saying this is the exact location, but this would put us in the general location of where the boys would have met Elyse.
Yeah, because we are exactly 1 mile from her house. And it dead ends here. So, if it's 1 mile, it's got to be right through here.
Now, they would have met her and smoked marijuana for about 15 minutes. And basically, Jacob took off his belt, got behind her, and put it around her throat and began choking her, while Joseph pulled out a hunting knife and stabbed her in the neck. Now, she would go unconscious at this point, and they would pass around the hunting knife, stabbing her a total of 12 times. Now, it's stated in what the boys have said once they were caught that while they were doing this, Elyse was crying out for Jesus and for her
mother.
Sad.
I mean, it is.
Give me a minute. It is sad that all of that was going on, and she's sitting there calling for her mama. This is awkward. And her mama's probably asleep a mile away.
Yep.
Not knowing that her little girl is having that done to her.
Yeah, if she snuck out, her parents had no idea.
They just thought she was asleep in her bed.
Oh.
And the body, like they said that when they examined her body, once they found it, that she didn't die immediately, because the boys also stomped on the back of her neck. And I guess they assumed she had passed away at that point. And they did sexually assault her body. All three of them did. But they left her. But she wasn't gone at that point. Because once they examined her body, when they found her, it said that none of the wounds that were inflicted upon her were like life-threatening, basically. And that she laid there for hours until she bled out and died.
Yeah, so if anybody would have found her sooner, or if she could have gotten to a place where there was somebody, she probably would have had her life saved, since the stab wounds weren't initially fatal.
So her body laid here for 8 months, decomposing, and during that time, the boys would come back and revisit her body and continue to have sexual relations with her body. And it wasn't until Royce Casey basically converted to Christianity or got saved or whatever that he actually told a clergyman about it. and the clergyman went forth, and then Royce Casey led police here to find her body.
So all of this here could have once been filled with eucalyptus trees. This entire field back then. So we know this is the location. This is kind of what you see around you as you pull up. So there's no marker, there's no anything indicating that she was found here, or a makeshift resting place, tombstone type thing. It's just, you kind of, this is what you have to go on.
Now, back in 1996, I saw a picture where her mama had a jar in her picture. But, I mean, that was 96. It's obviously not probably still going to be here anywhere.
Yeah.
But it was marking the spot where they had found her. So, like I said, Royce Casey took police to find Elyse's body. Now, it was stated that he said that he was fearful that the other two were a danger to people, basically, and that they would do it again or do it to him. Like, he was scared they would murder him.
I mean, yeah, you was in there, you know, you told them where the body is, and you ratting them out. Because they find you before the cops find them, they probably are going to try to
And he wasn't wrong. Like, whenever the cops arrested the other two, they were actually planning on doing it to somebody else. But, so the three of them went to court. They actually got sentenced and went to prison. They're still in prison. Now, I know some of them have come up for parole, Royce Casey being one. They said that, you know, he's basically turned his life around. He's not the same person he was back then. He's a role model in prison, but ultimately all parole things that have come up with these three guys have been denied. They're still in jail, which you should be.
Yeah. I mean, it's understandable in his case. You got saved, you found God, you found Jesus, you felt remorse, you did help the police find the body so that her family could have closure. And that's all great, but you still did the act. You still helped do it. So you should all still be in jail.
Yeah, now let's talk about the family. Once the family found out basically why her murder took place, you have these three boys that are obsessed with Slayer. They take this, they're really into, like, you know, the occult. They're devil worshippers. They feel like they have to do this to sacrifice her to Satan to gain popularity. Well, the family went on to sue Slayer twice, claiming that Slayer was the reason, like their lyrics and their satanic influences on young kids were the reason that their daughter got murdered.
Right.
But ultimately, they didn't win their lawsuit.
No, I remember when that happened, like with the whole, not the murder and stuff itself, but I remember when all that came through with Slayer getting sued by the family. I didn't really know at the time why they were getting sued by the family, but I do remember like all of that going down.
But, I mean, the judge kind of ruled something along the lines of, it's an artist's freedom, like their ability to...
Yeah, freedom of expression.
Yeah.
It's their freedom to do their artistry and everything the way they want to.
Yeah, and even though their lyrics may come off certain ways, they're in no way saying this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
Go out and do it.
Yeah, they're not pushing for people to go out and do it. It's just their artistic expression.
Right, and a lot of people that like heavy metal music, it's an outlet like for their aggression, not really telling them to, like, if you're planning on evil acts like this,
it's already inside of you. It's not, and the music's not just putting it. I mean, for one, I like a lot of different music, heavy metal being one of them. Now, I'm not really big into Slayer or Judas Priest or Iron Maiden, but I do like Motorhead. I do like Pantera, you know, Metallica, ones like that. I don't listen to it and then turn around and be like, I think I'm going to go sacrifice me a virgin today. That's what I feel like I should do.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's just, like you said, if it was there and you're having those, that thought was already there. It ain't got nothing to do with, like, the music. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys...
Oh, I do have one more thing to say.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you've watched the movie Jennifer's Body.
Mm-hmm. I have.
Now, directors or the people that made the film have never come out and said that this story inspired the movie.
Right.
But it does have a lot of similarities.
Yeah. A lot of similarities. You can tell it wouldn't have been like a based on true event or true whatever movie. Because it was more Hollywood than anything, unlike Alpha Dog.
Obviously, like, she doesn't come back possessed.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it, like, because, I mean, I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. But it's not a mostly based truth movie like the Alpha Dog movie was. Mm-hmm. Jennifer Body a lot more Hollywood. But, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of similarities to it. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this video as much as we enjoy making it. Shout out to our VIP Road Warrior patron, the Crypt Lady. Thanks for your patronage each month, your donation. Check us out on all things social media, all things Exit to Adventure, and Discord. And until next time, catch you guys down the road at the next exit.
Keep it spooky.
Later.